We are completely drowning in endless AI prompts, free frameworks, and business gurus on literally every platform right now. And yet, most managers are not meaningfully wiser than they were before. Knowledge has never been cheaper or more abundant, but wisdom just hasn't followed. Today, we're going to name that gap directly. We're stepping back from the relentless urgency of modern business to look at a fascinating piece by David J. Abbott, a director at Acalus Consulting, titled Siddhartha: Business Value in the Path Not Taken. We're going to explore how a classic story, set 2.5 millennia in the past, holds the exact insights modern leaders are desperately missing. To kick things off, I want you to mentally step away from your desk for a second. Just picture a slow, steady river. There are absolutely no devices here, no notifications pinging, no urgent emails screaming for your attention, just absolute stillness and the quiet, unhurried flow of water. This is the environment where the protagonist of our story, Siddhartha, ultimately finds what he has spent his entire life searching for. It's a setting totally removed from our modern obsession with always being on.
Now contrast that absolute stillness with the reality of, say, a noisy Nairobi open plan office. You know the vibe. Screens flashing, alerts going off, a constant fire hose of data. Like we said, knowledge is incredibly cheap now. We have AI right at our fingertips and instant access to more data than any generation before us. But despite all this instantly accessible knowledge, managers simply aren't feeling any wiser.
Which brings us to the core question of the article, and really of this whole explainer. Is there a difference between knowing and wisdom? And does that actually matter in business? In the age of AI, where intelligence is practically free, and a young grad can generate a perfect strategic framework in seconds, Abbott suggests that mere knowledge has become the booby prize.
So here is our first big takeaway. Business wisdom cannot be taught. It absolutely has to be lived. Think of knowledge as just the signposts pointing the way. You can read every book, memorize every single business principle, and prompt AI to share all its secrets. But wisdom is the worn walking shoes. Until you've actually lived through the confusion of making a genuinely difficult call under pressure, when neither choice looks good and you have to personally feel the consequences, you don't truly know it.
There's this incredible moment in Hermann Hesse's novel where Siddhartha actually meets the Buddha himself, the enlightened one, the ultimate teacher. And what does Siddhartha do? He walks away. He doesn't do it out of arrogance either. He does it from this deep, profound recognition that you cannot outsource the journey. No teaching, however perfect, substitutes for the walk. Honestly, every Kenyan manager who has ever made a genuinely difficult call under pressure already knows this in their bones.
All right, let's move to our second major idea. We call this the achievement trap. This is such a familiar story, and it lands just as hard in the corporate boardroom as it does in our personal lives. It's that endless treadmill of chasing the next milestone, the next promotion, or the next quarterly target without any real clarity on what actually matters. In the first half of the story, Siddhartha has absolutely everything going for him. As Alex Mathers points out, the guy has the looks, the intelligence, and a crystal-clear path to prestige and success. Yet, he is entirely miserable. It's a classic trap we see modern professionals fall into constantly. We convince ourselves that external success, that next level of validation, will finally fix an internal emptiness. But external validation simply cannot fill an internal void.
So I want you to sit with this for a moment and really think about it. Are you chasing the next milestone just to fix an internal emptiness? Are you running on the treadmill of conventional success because it's what's expected of you or because it's actually fulfilling your deepest purpose as a leader? It's a tough question, but answering it requires real intellectual honesty.
This brings us to the third core idea. When Siddhartha is asked what skills he actually possesses, his answer cuts through centuries of noise. He doesn't rattle off degrees or technical frameworks. He names 3 ancient, dead simple skills that remain absolutely essential for any forward-thinking leader today. Think, wait, fast. Let's break these down.
Skill number 1 is I can think. You know, MIT's Lex Fridman actually applies this to Silicon Valley, while the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius applied it to running an empire, saying the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thoughts. In business, this means having the capacity for deep, unbroken concentration. It's about cultivating a mind that can analyze, synthesize, and formulate independent strategy rather than just blindly reacting to incoming data.
Let's be completely honest for a second. Can you actually sit with a complex, ambiguous problem? Or is your immediate reflex to just prompt an AI to generate a recycled fix? True thinking is difficult. It requires serious mental endurance.
If we outsource our thinking the second we hit a bit of friction, we forfeit the exact process that generates wisdom.
Skill number 2 is I can wait. In our hypermodern, always-on world, waiting feels a whole lot like losing. But patience isn't a weakness, it's a massive strategic advantage. When you're facing a complex problem, stepping back and letting time bring depth of understanding is often the optimal decision. Siddhartha used this ability to stay completely detached and observant when he was a prosperous merchant. He never let the transactions master him.
So ask yourself, do you react to every single alert, every email, every market fluctuation the very second it happens? Or do you have the discipline to pause, to remain slightly apart and let time bring clarity? The ability to just observe without immediately intervening is practically a superpower in today's anxious, reactive corporate culture.
And finally, skill number 3, I can fast. Now, in a business context, this isn't just about food. It's about being able to live and flourish with less. It's about true freedom from the cages of societal expectations, petty cravings, and the relentless need for more. Because Siddhartha had survived with nothing but the robe on his back, he saw that money and petty corporate honors had very little real power over him.
So we really have to ask, are your leadership decisions driven by grounded strategy, or are they just driven by the fear of missing out? Are you terrified of losing status or missing out on the next petty honor? If your peace of mind is tethered to those external validations, you simply aren't free to make bold, wise decisions.
Hermann Hesse offers a brilliant metaphor for how people navigate the world. Most people, he writes, are like a twisting, falling leaf, just tumbling reactively through the air, completely at the mercy of the wind. But a very rare few are like stars set on a fixed course. No wind can reach them, because they carry their law and their path within themselves. They have cultivated the wisdom to think, to wait, and to fast.
Look, if you are a manager, particularly in the dynamic Kenyan market, who is tired of recycled frameworks and AI-generated answers that leave you no clearer, it might be time to look inward. If we've covered a lot of ground today, contrasting the noise of the modern world with the quiet power of these ancient skills. You already have the knowledge. It's literally right there in your pocket. But are you truly willing to do the hard, quiet work of walking the path to find your own wisdom? Think about it. Wait on it.